Hi and welcome back to the Watch Bench. This video is a single issue video. It's all about cleaning a silver pocket watch case, and it's part of a series of videos that I've been doing on the restoration of a 1902 English lever pocket watch, which you can see there in front of you. So I've restored the dial that was missing, the sub-dial, and the movement has been also completely disassembled and sonically cleaned, ultrasonically cleaned, and reassembled, and is running really nicely. But the case, which is a typical solid silver 19th century, early 20th century pocket watch case, as you can see, is very, very dirty. A lot of oxidization there. But this should clean up really, really nicely. So yeah, this video is on that single issue, how you clean a solid silver pocket watch case. So let's get on with it. And here we are with everything we need to do a thorough clean of this pocket watch case. Now, the good news is that we don't need any kind of special harsh chemicals for this. Everything that you can see in front of you is something that you would commonly find in most kitchens. Now, the most important thing, that is this ingredient here. We need some bicarbonate of soda, and you'll probably need a good tablespoon full of that. That sets up a chemical reaction with some aluminium foil, and I'll show you how to use that in a moment. And that's a reaction that is beneficial for this process. I recommend that you use some latex protective gloves, and if at all possible, make sure that they fit you reasonably well, so you're not fumbling around with loose gloves. We will need also some table salt. It's useful to have some kitchen towels and some very hot but not boiling water. Okay, so what's the process? Anyway, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take the aluminium foil. It tends to work best with the shiny side up. So we're just going to tear a piece of that off and put it carefully, shiny side up, into the bowl like this. Okay. And just pop that down there. Okay, try not to stick a hole in the bottom of it, although it doesn't really matter. And there we are. It doesn't have to be completely tidy. That is certainly good enough. So what we're going to do then is we're going to take our bicarbonate of soda, and in this case I've probably got about 2 tablespoonfuls in there, so I'm just going to put all of that in. Okay, I am then going to take the table salt and pop a good measure of that in, about the same amount. Okay, and now we put in the hot but not boiling water. Now, you will get a little bit of reaction at this point. That's a good sign. So we're just going to put that in there. That's going to fizz up a little bit. Don't worry about that. And we're then going to take the watch with our plastic tweezers here and just pop it carefully in the mixture like that. Now, it's important that it touches the sides of the aluminium so that the chemical reaction can happen. Now, I'm also just going to cover the watch here as well so that it's all covered, and we can spin it around in there as well. So we're just going to leave it in there for a little bit. and manipulate it a little bit like that. Turn it on its side. Okay, now you can already see on the sides here that this black tarnish, and particularly if you look at the back now, already you can see a lot of this black tarnish disappearing. So we're already getting a good result here. If I just bring it out momentarily, you remember what it looked like at the start of this video, and now, you know, even in those few seconds you can see just how clean this particular pocket watch is. So the pocket watch case now has been in there for about between 5 and 7 minutes, and as you can see, I've moved it around a few times, but it is a whole lot cleaner than it was before we started this process. Just going to grab it properly here so I don't drop it, and then bring it up to the camera to show you. Okay, so let's just grab that. And so, remembering that we don't use boiling water so we don't burn ourselves in this process, but as you can see, we do have some little stubborn bits here, and at this point what we can do is go in gently with an old toothbrush. So let me pop that back in there now and just show you that part of it. So amongst the tools that you tend to have in your watchmaking kit is a old toothbrush like this. You don't want to use it too hard because we don't want to scratch the metal. It's unlikely to do that because the plastic is not as hard as the metal, obviously, but nevertheless we don't really want to go at it great guns. So we can just have a little, get any sort of dirt that's hanging around here and there. Okay, and so now what we can also do, you're either going to be happy enough with it at a first pass, or what we can do now is we just do the process again, and what we would do is take any remaining bicarbonate of soda, and there's actually none in this, but I'll go and get another one in a minute, and then rub that in into the cracks and crunnies, I was going to say, I don't think that's actually a word, but in the, you know, in the little bits here where it's tight to get in, rub a little bit of salt in there, and then repeat the process. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm not going to video that because, you know, don't really need to see that, and then I will show you once I've taken it out. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so I'm back with a new piece of aluminium foil. Got the old bicarbonate of soda there. Always have stuff in reserve, so I've got a reserve one here, and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of this onto the watch itself. Okay, so just moving that out of the way and popping the watch case here. What we're going to do now is just sprinkle a little bit over so that we can work it in to the nooks and crannies, which was the phrase I was actually after a few moments ago. Just like that. Okay, and there is dampness on the watch anyway that you can see, so we're just going to work that in now to the parts of the watch where we have still got a little bit of tarnish. Okay, so just working that in with the toothbrush. Again, doesn't really want to be a toothbrush that you actually use to clean your teeth, and I wouldn't also use a powered toothbrush for this. for obvious reasons, because you don't want to. So we're just working that in into the little nooks and crannies. And same with the salt. Put a little bit of salt back on it. Okay, a little bit of salt on it. Okay, more than you would put on your chips probably. And just working that in nicely and gently with the toothbrush. Now, important point, if this was a pocket watch with keyless works, in other words, a pocket watch that wound from this position here, you'd find a crown that you actually turned, then I would disassemble that before doing this process, because there are actually a few parts in there that we'd want to disassemble anyway for oiling the watch up. But there we are. We've put some stuff actually into the nooks and crannies there. So let's get that in focus then at the front here. And then all we do now is simply repeat the process. So we're going to put in about a couple of tablespoonfuls of bicarbonate of soda, and again the same of table salt. Okay, and chuck in some warm but not hot water. Well, hot but not boiling water, I should say. It is quite hot. And then again, having done that, we're going to chuck that in there and look for that reaction again. And now that we've worked it all in there, that is going to turn out nice. So there we are. That's the major process. We've got a little bit of, he said, knocking the tripod. We've got a little bit of tidying up to do back at the watch bench once we've dried it off. So I will cut to that now. And there it is then, all nice and dry, back on the watch bench. And as you can see, not immaculate, but really, really much, much cleaner than it was before. You can see all the dark oxidization has gone. Has got just in some of the bits here, you can see a little bit of tarnish remains. Actually, largely that is hidden anyway. But what you can do at this point, if you really want to shine it up, and I would be careful as a general rule with watches, because quite often, particularly actually with more modern watches, there is a propensity for people to overshine them, particularly if they've got a brushed finish. But in this case, it wouldn't be such a bad idea to finish this already quite shiny. You can see, look at the gleam on that silver there now. But you could finish it off with some of this sort of stuff, some silvo, as we call it in the United Kingdom here, which is just a general kind of silver polish. You just be really, really careful with it. Don't rub too hard, and then take it off with a kitchen towel. And you can use a cotton bud like this just to get into some of the nooks and crannies. But anyway, hardly needs it, because as you can see, this is a really, really good job done on this case already. I am just going to finish it up with a little bit of silver, but there we are. If you want to clean your silver, whether it be a pocket watch case or any other type of silver, that, as I've just explained in this video, is not a bad way to go about it. If you are interested in watches and horology, then please subscribe to my channel. I am always posting videos on all sorts of topics to do with both antique, vintage and modern watches that I have the pleasure of restoring at the watch bench here. So yeah, I hope this was useful. Thanks very much.